And gee, I missed a lot of stuff the last part. Why don't you kick us off, why don't you? We've seen it before. Not Ceaseless Discharge, the Molten Giants. Like a couple of insane babies. Kind of a touchy subject. So we're going to be going back over a lot of NPC dialogue that I had missed out on last time. We have indeed. We have, though. We do. She totally is. And she probably would be. So let's go talk to her.
It has been some time, truth be told. I thought you would perish.
Why, never. I certainly would never perish. Come on, give me something.
My
Yeah?
mother, the Witch of Izalith, was one of the primeval lords.
Yeah.
Her power came from
Opening
a sword
cinematic
that
told
she
us that.
found near the first flame. She focused this power to light a flame of her own. But she failed to control it.
Interesting.
The flame of chaos engulfed Mother and my sisters and molded them into deformed creatures. Only I escaped. And now I am here.
Okay,
But
go
my
on.
mother and sisters
Interesting.
have been in anguish since. I beseech you, free Mother and my sisters from the flame of chaos. I cannot do it myself. I lack the strength and the bravery.
Yeah?
You,
Well, I certainly had the strength and bravery. Yeah.
but please, free their poor souls.
They're poor, wretched souls,
Mother's
yes
ambitions
indeed.
were misguided, no doubt. But surely 1,000 years of atonement is enough.
Maybe it was, maybe it was. Okay. Now, I went over a bunch of stuff there, and there's a lot to talk about, but I'll handle most of it in the live comm. But for now, I just wanted to make sure I went over all of this stuff so that I had enough to talk about while I was wandering around killing stone demons. And here we see the, what I assume to be the ancient city of Izalith proper. You know, before it was consumed by lava and butt demons and whatnot. They were butt demons. They're like demons with giant butts. They're butt demons. Come on, guys. And I'm pretty sure that the path that we're seeing down there is actually the path leading to Ceaseless Discharge. So that's what this is that we're looking at. This is the path that leads straight down. It's right over the Fair Lady. So that's what we're overlooking right now. You can... I guess you could technically clip your way out of this using Cheat Engine or something. But there's no collidable geometry out there, so there's really nothing that we're missing here. But it is interesting that the ancient city of Izalith seems to have been sort of, what's that? There's like a South American civilization that built everything in the walls or something like that. But it's sort of like that. All their cities seem to have been built within the cliff facing, and they may, for that reason, have overlooked a sea of lava in the first place. So whether or not this lava bullshit was here in the first place or not, I don't know. But it is pretty interesting things to think about. Whee! But we'll make our way down, and we will return back to whence I came. Whoosh! Back down to Ceaseless Discharge. Now remember, I had to roll back to fix all the Solaire nonsense that happened to be going on. And I just wanted to show off that, yes, I am aware of the glitch that is associated with this boss. I thought that they had patched it out, and it seems like they did have a patch that was supposed to fix this, but they didn't do a very good job of it. But the gist of it is that the easiest way to deal with Ceaseless Discharge, if you can get it to actually trigger, is to get him to follow you, which is pretty easy since he's so angry about you plucking the clothes off that naked corpse. I'm not sure how that works. It was naked already. Then you get him to chase you and get him to jump attack you while you are near the fog gate. And you might wonder, well, what exactly is that supposed to do? Well, it's not really supposed to do anything. I think at one point you could actually go back through the fog gate. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of that they patched. But what happens is that he will do this jumping attack, like so. Dodge for safety. And whenever he comes out of this animation, then he will actually plummet into a hole that's right below him, because there's nothing actually under his body. And you notice that all of his health is drained away instantly. That's because he actually took fall damage from having nothing under him, which is very unusual. And I'm looking down there, that is the thing that actually he fell down into. And here I wanted to show off that, of course this is the lava drain, but there is a path that you can technically go down. So you can not do the Ceaseless Discharge thing and just avoid that entirely. It is possible. But first, this description I never read. Gold hem, black cloak, worn by the witch Quillana of Izalith, mother of Pyromancy and daughter of Chaos. She wore this gold hem, black cloak before even the Age of Fire, and it offers strong resistance versus blah 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 blah. It is interesting that this is because this is what she actually wears, I guess, but the description is actually for her. It's not for the corpse that we find, which is quite unusual. But I guess it does make sense. Probably give a little bit more about that later on, though. But first, I wanted to show that if you actually wanted to bypass the lava without defeating Ceaseless Discharge, you can do that by dropping down kind of in this region and following along this path of rocks. And basically what you do, you just try to have as much health as possible, equip all the fire resistance that you can, use flame sweat and so on, and just roll on top of these rocks, which is incredibly dangerous, as Ceaseless Discharge found out a moment ago, and you just roll your way all across until you get to the other side. Which I can't remember if our little goat Kappa demon friend over here is there at the same time that the lava is. I think he is, and I think he actually gets hurt by it. Just briefly show off my mad skills of having way too many iframes. Oh, I'm so amazing. Okay. And I also wanted to show off that you can actually find the centipede demon down here. I don't know why I didn't bring this up. I actually was thinking about it whenever I was talking to Franz, but never got around to it. But yeah, you can actually see the centipede demon on the side of this thing before you even fight him. But you can't actually do any damage to him, so it's kind of pointless, but it's a nice little detail. I thought it was a really cute little detail. So you can do that. And that's enough out of him. And once you actually beat him and go down here, I just thought that this door was actually interesting. Well, interesting in the sense that it's here. I mean, the actual door, who gives a shit. But it does seem to be a door that maybe early on development was meant to lead somewhere, and I think some people speculated before the DLC came out that maybe this is where you go to get to the DLC, and turned out, nah, you just use a portal. Completely irrelevant. But you'll notice that it even has little inscriptions on it that seem to be themed after Izalith and the Bed of Chaos and so on. Kind of interesting that they would design all their stuff after the Bed of Chaos before she even existed. It's almost like they didn't really think that through. But it's interesting that that door is there in the first place, and that it looks like it was sealed up or something. I don't know, very unusual. Or that it was meant to naturally be closed off, like the stone doors slide together or something. Who the hell knows? But this is normally what you find down here. Solaire.
Why? After all this searching, I still cannot find it.
So if you don't fuck up like I did, then you find him down here. And he just says the same thing over and over again. Still looking for his son. So this is the point of no return, in which if you get this scene, then Solaire is pretty much fucked.
If a stubborn beast you be, I have no choice. A warrior of the sun will not just sit and take Why?
Can't take that many sexual euphemisms, Solaire. I'm sorry, but there's only room for one pervert in this stream. And he drops all this shit, humanity, blah blah blah, same thing that you saw before. But I just wanted to establish that yes, this is where he is if you fuck up. Or, I guess actually, it's not really fucking up since you're supposed to naturally have this. And according to Miyazaki, this is the quote-unquote good ending for him, which I completely disagree with, but, you know. Anyways, if you do begin to rescue him, which I have done, I'm pretty sure, then eventually, if you respawn enough times, or rezone enough times, I should say, eventually he'll show his ass up here.
Was it all a lie? Have I done this all for nothing? Oh, my dear son. What now? What should I do? My son. My dear, dear son.
So we get a little bit more, but he does say that it was a lie, almost as though he was following some path that someone else had laid out for him or something like that. Some interesting things to talk about that I won't go into just yet. Again, I'll save all that for the post-commentary. But I did want to establish that you can eventually get him to appear down here and give off his little lines. And that shows you that, yes, you are on the right path to rescuing him. So he was looking for this. Which I'm not going to give you, Solaire. You can't have it. Got anything new to say about it? No, you don't. So he doesn't even seem to notice. It's my son now, Solaire. As I shake my butt in front of him. It's my son now. You can't have it. It's all mine. It's kind of cruel, but you know. So I guess I'll say more on Solaire for now, but this is the gist of it. Yay for me! I've saved him. Too bad for you, Solaire. You can't kill yourself now. Okay, on to Livecom! Thank you so very much, Eli of the past. This is me, Eli of the future, and you'll notice I've outfitted myself for optimal fake lighting? I don't know what this is the light build, I guess. And I'm using Sanctus, which, thankfully, in order to... have I ever even mentioned... Yes, I've mentioned this before. But Sanctus has the other benefit of offering slight health point recovery. You don't actually have to meet the requirements for the shield to actually be able to get this benefit. So I'm just going to wear it on my back and walk around like a big asshole. Okay. But I went through all that stuff in the opening, and we are going to be doing kind of the majority of this little area again, because we haven't done all that down there, and even though there's really nothing down there even. But we're going to do that anyway, so I can gripe about that. And we're going to do the Bed of Chaos again. That'll be so much fun. That'll be so much fun. And everything else between here and there. And I got rid of that stupid fucking Titanite demon because I didn't want it trying to slap me off the edge while I was talking. But I went through all that little intro stuff. And that was several days ago, and now I don't remember any of it. Because for the majority of the time in between the last episode and this one, I've just been, and the Ring of Fog is the reason why they're not all aggroing on me instantly. I've been just drawing and trying to get all my little side projects done, and I'm going to have to start worrying about things like commissions and other nonsensical things like that in the future. So that's what I've been doing. And I need to get back in sorts. It's been so long since I've done one of these things, I found myself having to do vocal exercises before I even began recording. You know, Mamma me, la la la, la da 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 la. Things just like that, just like the professionals do. In order to get my voice working correctly again. But I made sure to write down all the things that were said in the prior little parts that you guys just got through seeing in order to remind myself exactly what it is that I need to be talking about. Kaboom! Okay, first things first, before I even deal with it, I'm not going to deal with that right now. Let's just clear out these guys. But I wrote down the Witch of Izalith, or Quela, whatever you want to call her, found her soul near the first flame. That's what Quilana said about her mother, that she found it near the first flame. Might wonder, what does that have to do with anything? I just wanted to point out that she found it near the first flame. She did not actually, it was not a part of the first flame, which is kind of unusual. They seem to go out of their way to suggest that all the four Lord Souls are aspects of the first flame itself. But actually, that's not exactly the case, it seems like. If she actually did just straight up just find the damn thing, kind of near the same area. So that might offer up some distinction for future things to talk about, but I just want to make sure you guys were aware that there's that little niggling detail in regards to what Quilana was telling us earlier, that she found it near the first flame, it wasn't actually part of the first flame. Secondly, she also mentioned that she focused this power, the power that she got from her own soul, the soul of life in this case, to light a flame of her own. I wanted to point this out. It is not actually her soul that is the flame of chaos. She tells us straight up that it is actually... As we try to... Oh, she's actually clever this time. And since this is random, you have to be kind of careful. Ah! Floored her. Oh, one hit. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, one hit. Oh, two hits. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I'm so much better than you are. Goodness gracious. Okay, well, let's handle that in a second. But I just wanted to point out that she lit a flame of her own. That it was something that she ignited from what? I don't know. I don't know if they actually need kindling for this sort of thing. But the Chaos Flame is something that is completely independent from the first flame itself. They're two individual things. So they're basically the same exact thing, except for some reason, the Chaos Flame is bad and makes things turn into weird, bulbous statue monsters and demons that are shaped like goat things, or whatever. And the first flame itself is good, and that it makes us? Are we even good? I don't know. But it's for the purposes of what we consider to be good and bad, as far as our lives go. Then it's bad, I guess. I don't know. Okay. That doesn't make any sense, Plague. No, it doesn't. But stop worrying about it. That's been a common refrain for these past few parts. Don't worry about it. Izalith Catalyst, I can't remember how I went over all these things, but Catalyst of the Witch of Izalith of long ago. So we found the gold hem cloak, and that said that this is something that was worn by Quilana. In this case, it says that this is the catalyst of the Witch of Izalith herself, when her daughters were still flame witches, before they were engulfed by the Chaos Flame. Before the birth of Pyromancy, and remember, Pyromancy did not exist in those days, because Pyromancy is a bastardization of fire magic itself, which is a manipulation of life. And every single time I go over this, I'm always reminded of Avatar The Last Airbender, because of Zuko and Aang rediscovering what fire bending actually is. You know, they go to see the dragons, and then they realize, oh, it's not about destruction, it's about life. Yay! So I kind of get the impression that's some sort of thing over in Asia that I don't know about. Anyways, before the birth of Pyromancy, their wands were mediums for sorcery, but knowledge of this flame sorcery has long since vanished. It's kind of unusual that the knowledge of it seems to be implying that it still exists, but people don't know how to do it anymore. But Quilana and all the surviving witches, which would just be her daughters, I guess, it's kind of weird. It's just her and her daughters. They never mention anyone else that are witches. Anyways. But you would think that they would know how to do it if they actually could still do it. And Pyromancy seems to be what that flame sorcery actually is now, so whether or not Pyromancy actually is flame sorcery, it's just that it's been corrupted because of the Chaos Flame, and it's linked with her soul, or it's something that's just entirely different and we just never see it. Who knows? Who the hell knows? But it has long since vanished either way. Is there anything else I need to go over in regards to that? Because it's not her soul. Just that... Yeah, just to finalize that, the Chaos Flame is something that is completely independent. It is not her soul. So whenever we pick up her soul after we destroy her, if I can actually pull that off today... if I can actually pull that off today, then it is not going to be the Chaos Flame that we're actually picking up. It is going to be her soul, which is completely independent of the Chaos Flame. And it is kind of unusual that we see this... We keep hearing about the Chaos Flame, but we never actually see it anywhere. And I will point out that, again, this is for people that have primarily played the games already, but whenever we get to the Kiln of the First Flame, that place is fucking metal. Like, it has been completely wasted, devastated by what is to be insinuated to be the original First Flame has completely vaporized the entire area. It's glassed everything because it was so hot. Indicating that whenever it burns its brightest, it is like it's a supernova going off in there. Whereas this, it seems like if it's anywhere, if the Chaos Flame is anywhere at all, then it's really not that big. Unless it's just sort of creeping into everything around it. Although you could infer that maybe it has the same problem that the First Flame did. And that it went off, it incinerated everything, but it's died down over time, and now what we're seeing is actually a vestige of what the original Chaos Flame's power really was. I don't know. I guess draw your own conclusions from it. But personally, I think that they just were not really thinking about it either way, so fuck me. Okay. Let's pick up this shit. Humanity acquired. And pick up his spike shield, which is the only thing remaining. And I think we've actually already looked at this. But just for the hell of it, show off just how none information this gets. Shield of the infamous Dark Wraith Kirk, Knight of Thorns covered with spikes. I've said this before, Miyazaki writes all the item descriptions. He must have been really busting his balls over this one. Can be used as a weapon, sharp spikes cause heavy bleeding. Good job, Miyazaki. Good job. I really appreciate the complete lack of effort on your part to go into anything in regards to this. Good fucking job. Okay, but that's Dark Wraith Kirk. Even though he's called Dark Wraith, he's not really a Dark Wraith exactly. He could be, like we said before, he could be using cracked red eye orbs, in which case he's not actually a Dark Wraith, he's just someone that happens to be using items that were made by Dark Wraiths. Or I guess he actually could have been at some point in history. And these things are called Chaos Eaters, by the way. And there's another one over there. We'll talk more about them in a second. I just wanted to make sure that I address them. Those are Chaos Eaters, and we've already been over this once before, so I'm not going to read that off. Just get through this as quickly as possible. Something also that Quilana said was, my mother and sisters have been in anguish ever since. And I wanted to point this out, because she seems to realize that they are still alive and that they still exist. And she also seems to be aware of what their plight happens to be. Unlike the eldest of the daughters that we just got through slaying in one hit. She had such a grand life until I showed up. Just, oh, I'm a big dumb human. Ah! Then she died. Amazing. Anyways, they've been in anguish ever since. So she seems to be fully aware of what their lives are like. And I just wanted to point that out. Why is she not caring for them? You would think that she would actively seek out, you know, the fair lady in Quelaag, who obviously she had to go through Quelaag's domain to be able to leave the area in the first place, which I assume that she did 1,000 years ago, so maybe it's just something that Quelaag's domain is a recent thing, but you would think that she would at least be aware that her sister is right there, outside of, she's right outside the entrance. But maybe the reason why that she's outside the entrance is because that she's aware of them. But she's kind of pointed out before that she's too much of a coward to actually deal with her mother, or deal with her sisters. So I'm assuming that even though she is aware of their plight, she's aware of everything that's been going down and aware of the suffering that they're undergoing, then she just can't bring herself to go back and try to care for them or help them. Why? I don't know. Just, she admits that she's a coward. That's it. Is there anything else in regards to her? Because, yes, just... What the hell am I talking about here? Discharge protecting cloak with her description. Oh, right. Okay. That's what I was trying to say. Well, and actually, god damn it, there's so many things to talk about. I guess I'll go over here first and slay this other Chaos Eater. What exactly the Chaos Eaters are, I have no idea. And they're so fucking weird looking. They're just these big tubule looking creatures. They sit like the Witch of Izalith turned into a little bug creature, right? There's little bitty bug creatures all over the place. And there's also the worm creatures all over the place. You cut open the guys and worms spray out. Yay, it's Christmas. And also there's the big rock worms that come out of the walls, and then there's the centipede demon. There's this theme of worms. You know, I guess supposed to be representing life. The Chaos Eaters, there's nothing that are even loosely associated with this. Look at this fucking thing. This eye's going all over the place. Fucking crazy. Looks like that one hallway from PT. Just going crazy. And if you can really see it from right here, I'll just get him to pay attention to me very briefly. Oh, don't come over here. You may not be able to go through that. Yeah. I can't quite get a good look at it, but the top of his head, I might actually have to get myself to be swallowed by him. But the top of his head is another mouth that has a bunch of little tiny incisors and stuff all over the place. And his lower half, obviously, are a bunch of these little sucker things. And his little forward little mandible things right here kind of, sort of loosely look like those worm things in a way, I guess. And he does breathe shitty little toxins, so we have to be careful of that. So what exactly these things are, I have no fucking clue. If you ask me, I think it was just they had concept art for them, and they were like, just put it in. We're not going to worry about it, just, we have it, we modeled it, they look neat and weird, just put the fucking things in there. But from their names, they're referred to as being Chaos Eaters, so they're eating the warped form of life that exists in the world or something. And they are giant mouths, whatever you want to call them. They are giant mouths, and they are growing these eyes all over the place. So I guess the idea is that they are consuming so much of the radiant chaos, you know, corrupted form of life, that it's actually causing them to look the way that they are now. Which is why their legs are also sort of miniature mouths and so on. They're just mouths and eyes. Constantly on the lookout for more things to eat, and then eating them. That's their life. So whatever the fuck these things are, I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't. It does not at all. I forget what this little gloop actually does. It seems like it either breaks equipment, or maybe it slows you. I haven't been hit by it in like years. However long this game has been out. So I don't know. I'm almost tempted to be hit by it to find out, but knowing my luck, it'll break all my equipment instantly or something. But they can also grab you and toss you inside of their little mouths here. If you can kind of squat down for me. There you go. You can kind of just barely see how the... Yeah, that's one of his little hits. You can kind of see the upper half of his little shit mouth up there up top where he throws you in. He's like a big blender. He's like a big meat blender is what this guy is. Or he was. God, you can't even see it from that angle. God damn it. Oh well. You guys will just have to trust me on that. If you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't, you didn't. Okay. But briefly, I wanted to talk about... So let's go over the gold hem thing one more time. It's way up here, yeah, because it took me fucking forever to find the damn thing last time. Gold hem black cloak. Worn by the witch Quilana of Izalith. Again, it's so weird that it says this is her stuff. Like, this is Quilana. Like, we didn't kill Quilana for this stuff. This was found on the corpse, the Ceaseless Discharge, or Unending Sore Monster, or whatever the hell the original translation is. This is found on that corpse, not Quilana. But Quilana wears it as well. Maybe originally they decided maybe you get this by killing her, but then they decided against it later on, and then they just put the corpse down there. Just to say, well, if you want it, then here it is. You don't have to worry about killing the NPC or something like that. I don't know, maybe that's what happened. But anyways, she wore this gold hem black cloak before even the Age of Fire, and it offers strong resistance, blah blah, fire, poison, and other perils. So, this is, I guess, is from, again, like I said, it could be just because of bad development, but this is something that was worn by all the witches before the Age of Fire even started. And the Age of Fire started whenever they conquered the dragons. Like, not whenever they found the first flame and whatnot, but whenever they conquered the dragons, that's when the Age of Fire purportedly was going. And that's what we're trying to do. Like, this isn't Dark Souls 2. There is no cycle. There's only the Age of Fire and the choice of whether to keep the Age of Fire going or not. In order to keep it going, we have to keep the fire lit. And if we don't do that, then the fire goes out. Because, you know, Gwyn or anything, they're not there anymore, and we get an Age of Dark. There's no cycle. Anyways, even before all this started happening, the witches wore this, which, again, insinuates that there was some sort of civilization going on before the conquest of the dragons. Which, again, I will point out is so fucking weird. Because where the hell was this civilization in the first place? Because the only thing that we ever see, and we're going to see today, I think, the only thing that we ever see are the things up here in this Asgardian world that we live in, and kind of a little bit of the Greylands. And that's it. That's all we ever see. And I'll point out, I'm wearing the Ring of Fog. These guys are deaf. They can't hear me. Because I'm approaching them from the back and they can't actually physically see me, then they can't really do anything about me. There are quite a few enemies in the game that are either blind or deaf, and they don't really address it in any way. But yeah, these guys can see, but they can't actually hear. Kind of unusual. In regards to these guys... Oh, so much to talk about. Actually, let me get this out of the way first. I wanted to point out that in regards to Ceaseless Discharge, I went back and looked it up in the original Japanese version of the game, and they use the word ani, or ani, or whatever, in regards to his relationship with his sisters, which is a word that's used, if I'm even pronouncing it correctly, which I'm most assuredly not, is a word primarily used for an older sister. So it's implying that in regards to Ceaseless Discharge, he was actually the much younger brother of all of the siblings. Man, this Ring of Fog is really effective against these enemies. So, whether or not he actually was their brother or not, I have absolutely no idea. Looking that up, unfortunately, did not really clarify as much as I had hoped that it would have. I was hoping it would be some sort of translation error or something, but it wasn't. You know, he's their younger brother. And sometimes, and it's just like, you know, English. Sometimes you will call someone a brother or sister, and they're really not your brother or sister. You know, you're just kind of calling them brother in the spirit of the same word. And I wouldn't say it's beyond reason to say that maybe he actually used to be human, and they're just referring to him as being a younger brother. There is no way whatsoever of actually knowing one way or the other. So there's that. I'm sorry I couldn't have a more concrete thing to go on with that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And I think I've already gotten all the items that were up there. By the way, you can't go through this. But I wanted to point out in regards to Ceaseless, there's a reason why I had to stop myself. In regards to Ceaseless Discharge, finding the thing on that body in the first place, that since it does contain an item description of Quilana, and this is a batshit crazy theory that I don't believe whatsoever, but it's possible, so I'll mention it anyways. And again, I always try to bring up things that I don't necessarily believe that, you know, it's a possible thing, so just bear that in mind. But since we do find Quilana's stuff on this corpse, it is possible, at least, that the corpse actually does belong to Quilana, and the person that we meet in the swamp is not actually Quilana or someone with a, you know, the same name, or someone that has taken up her role, or maybe it was another one of the sisters. We don't know. Or maybe it was what I believe, and that it was just a fuck-up in regards to the translation or something. So, that's possible. I just want to make sure that I mentioned that. Another thing to mention, I should have mentioned this beforehand, but I had my notes kind of muddled, because I'm trying to... My schedule's all out of whack right now, because I've been drawing and all this other stuff. But if you want sunlight metals, you can also farm them, I'm pretty sure this is right, from the insects down by where we just got through seeing Solaire. You can get them from there. If you, the drop rate is insanely low, though. I would not even bother. The easiest way is just either dupe the damn things, or just, you know, just co-op over and over and over again. Actually, farming the insects is just kind of a waste. It's just an offline thing. Like, it's possible. You might find one ever so often. Why exactly they drop sunlight metals? Who knows? Just, they're loosely associated with Solaire, so why not? Why not? Why the fuck not? Okay, and in regards to, this is going to relate to these statues as well. Oh, lordy. But I wanted to point out that the blacksmith statues that we saw by the Moonlight Butterfly in the garden, and the one down in the tomb, and the one in the painted world of Ariamis, all share something in common other than all being statues. And that is the one of the catacombs, or not, the one in the tomb and the one in the garden were both holding divine embers. And the one in Ariamis was holding a dark ember. And I wonder if I even still have that. Because large flame ember. No, I guess I already gave all those away. But the dark ember is basically, it's on the same line, like divine weapons, and then you can make occult weapons from the dark ember itself, and you get occult weapons by upgrading a divine ember. So they're all on the same upgrade path. They're all divine weaponry. But I just wanted to point out that the only statues in the game that we see of these blacksmiths are actually people that used to work in divine weaponry. Things that were, you know, aspects of the gods. Or people that were associated with the occult. So I'll use it again as evidence that maybe the reason why that the blacksmiths have their own statues, that they were, you know, that they were turned to stone, is because of the occult. And whatever the hell it was that they were doing way back in the day, and whatever the hell they were doing in regards to Nito, and their own investigations into immortality and so on. I will use that as evidence for myself. Thank goodness. Okay. Now, in regards to these guys, in regards to this sort of related idea of stonifying one another, 64215, nice name, by the way, says, could those statues coming to life be related to the arch trees being infected with life and turning from stone into actual trees? And I went back and found that because I had written down in my notes that these statues... You could say that these statues are very small asylum demons. Because you can kind of look at them and see the same thing. They look almost exactly like the asylum demons. Except, you know, obviously they don't have legs. They float for God knows what reason. They don't have any legs. And they kind of look like little bitty teapots. Because their little bottoms, their little bums have tails that curl up almost all the way up to their back. You can just imagine picking one of these little things up and emptying a big pot of tea right out of their mouths. Whatever. But they do kind of look like asylum demons, which sort of insinuates that there's some sort of link between these guys. and the Asylum Demon itself, that maybe they are growing into them. But we looked at the description of the catalyst that we got from the Asylum Demon, and it said that he was a demon fire sage prior to all this happening. So I would not say that that's necessarily true, but there obviously is some sort of link going on here. And of course, this is not an actual enemy. Whoops. Can't believe I missed that entirely. This is not an actual enemy. Like, it's a statue, in this case. Even though it is moving. So this does seem to be insinuating that... I'll say it this way. This might be the best way of saying it. You know how I've talked about in the past how stone works in this world? That whenever you are made of stone, then you're not really living and you're not really dying. And whenever you are turned to stone, you as a person do sort of die, but you sort of just stop existing unless you are undead. If you are undead, then you end up respawning at a bonfire anyway, because, you're undead. You can't die. Your corporeal form has to keep reincarnating itself over and over again. That's how that works. And in regards to these guys, it seems like the Chaos Flame is doing sort of the reverse. That it's taking things that aren't alive in the first place, which I guess would be these statues, and it is actually causing them to come to life slowly. And these things, like down here and these giant ones that are up there on the temple, seem to be just statues that existed before all this started happening, that are slowly coming to life in the first place, if I had to guess. And I will use this as evidence of how exactly the Chaos Flame works, and that it's corrupting life in the sense that it is doing sort of, maybe not even the reverse of how it actually works with the actual flame, the first flame, but there is a correlation. You can try to make any logical sense out of it that you want to, but, the first flame is something that causes life to happen and causes death to happen, and replaces the grayness of the stone world that the dragons lived in the first place. Whereas the Chaos Flame seems to be outright supplanting that, rather than supplementing it, if that makes any sense. Again, you can sit there and scratch your thick monkey skulls about that all day like I did, and just desperately try to make any sense out of it that you can, but you probably won't, because it's a big mess. Don't worry about it. Thank goodness I got that out of the way, because I was getting tired of standing around for all that. Do I need this anything? But these are just roots, the big roots that are growing all over the place. Because again, this is supposed to be referencing Angkor Wat, and Angkor Wat has a big problem with giant tree roots and stuff running all through its whatever you want to call it, the design of the. God damn, my brain no work good today. But all the roots that are running through its infrastructure, I guess. Now, oh lord, these things. These are all dragon asses. Dragon asses as far as the eye can see. And I know they're dragon asses because the original translation of their name is lower half of a dragon. Seriously, that's what it is. Just lower half of a dragon. I forget what their English name is, but, it's just dragon asses is good enough for me. Why are a bunch of dragon asses down here? Probably because they had the model for them and they were running out of time, and they just needed to have them down here anyway. I need to equip if I'm going down to this shit pit, I need to make sure that I equip this stupid-ass thing. Where the hell is it? There we go. Where's this lava damage? No wolf ring for me. Oh, but if I had to make up something, maybe again, sort of like how the Chaos Flame is warping stone to become life, maybe in the same way it's making dragon asses. I don't fucking know. I don't know, guys. It's making dragon asses somehow. The dragons themselves, if the dragons always existed, why would anything be making them? But then again, stone always existed, and the Chaos Flame is making that. So maybe what the Chaos Flame is that it's kind of working against whatever the first flame was doing in the first place. Whereas the first flame was breaking the gray cycle, maybe the Chaos Flame is actually working in reverse, and it's trying to sort of make things go back into an era of stone, but also make them alive at the same time, and that's the reason why it's warped. Which may sort of loosely make sense in regards to why there's so many dragons being created that are only half alive. Because the fact that they're only asses seems to insinuate that they can't eat, they can't speak, they can't think, they can't do anything other than just move around. So maybe the fact that they're just lower halves of stone beings is supposed to be insinuating that in some way the Chaos Flame itself is creating or manifesting life out of unlife, while also not being life at all. And that's the reason why it's a corruption of the First Flame. There, I did it! I explained the dragon asses. Everyone clap for me. Oh, Lord. This place will be the death of me. Ty Jarman says, "How many of you are there?" is a less common British English phrase. Thank you so much for telling me that to explain the mystery of what the fuck Patches thought that he was talking about. So that mystery has been solved, to my satisfaction. And thankfully, since we have this ring, we can just rush across here. Oh, I hate the lava in this place. I mean, it just absolutely blinds you. You can't see anything. Awful. Absolutely awful. Well, we run over here. Shabloom. And we have this bonfire that I will not even be using. That I won't even be using. I'm pretty sure that none of the rest of these things even dissipate. I think that's the only fog wall in here. It is quite unusual that there's a bonfire in here in the first place. There's a bonfire here just because you need one. You know, you need one for the boss, I guess. Like if you, let's see. The last bonfire would be the one next to the Centipede Demon, then you beat him, then there's one next to Solaire, so I guess you don't necessarily need this here, but it is nice. I guess. You can tell that I have a low opinion of Izalith. It's just not a great area. And thankfully I had this Ring of Fog on, or else these guys would be very, very angry. And even though I'm a collector and I feel like picking up anything, everything, and anything, even if it's just souls, I never pick up anything down here because I'm pretty sure that it's nothing but souls. Like, there's no special rings, there's no weapons, there's nothing, it's fucking nothing. Oh, should I get into a fight with one of these stupid things? Hold on, wait on that for a second. Adam Miter says, if the giant blacksmith is blind, how does he know that the ember that you give him is shiny? The answer to that question is, shh. Maybe he's not blind. Maybe he isn't blind. Maybe his little mask, even though it doesn't have any eye slots at all, just shh. Then maybe he's not blind, like... Oh, what the hell's his name? My brain's shutting down right now. But the giant that we will meet in the DLC, for God's sakes, I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. Don't say it in the comments. I'll know what it is 2 minutes from now, for God's sakes. Don't do that. But whenever we get to him, we kind of get the impression that, you know, he's just dumb. Like his mask that we'll get his armor stuff later, and it says that his mask was tarred up to where he couldn't see. So we get the impression that if you just take off your fucking mask, then maybe you could see. But maybe the masks are welded to their face or something. Maybe that's something that the giants have going for them that we'll worry about later. But that's the answer to that. The answer is shh. Aurora Vertanen says, oh, and how on earth did Gwyn get in after the witch became the bed of chaos? And I thought that this was actually a pretty important question. And the answer is that they didn't think about it. I'll just go ahead and tell you that. There we go. Come over here, sweetie, bye. These things are extremely irritating. Because they do this. And it's very hard to time when they land and don't land. I can really do without their idiotic jumping. Oh, for God's sakes. I can't even tell where the hell it is. This is the reason why you don't fight these things. Because you can't tell where the hell you are, what's going on. It's just awful. It's absolutely terrible. Oh, and there's that noise, like this noise, this. That's happening at the same time. And by the way, even though you have the ring on, it doesn't completely negate the damage, as you can see. It does go down a little bit. I guess it's very slowly being offset by Sanctus. Very slowly. But it makes that noise at the same time, and it's just so irritating. There's nothing fun about going down in this area. This place sucks ass. Sucks dragon ass. And also these guys are down here ever so often. Hello, come here so I can get rid of you. No, don't breathe fire. Go away. Go away. Okay. But in regards to Gwyn, what he's referencing here, whatever the hell his name was, what Aurora was referencing here, is our discussion earlier on about how the sort of lock gates of the first flame actually works. God! For sake. He's gonna jump again. I tried the roll, that didn't work particularly well. This is just really poorly made area, and these are really shitty enemies. I fucking hate this area. Well, let's go over here and look at these stupid things. We can't actually get under this. We have to walk all the way around. All the way... God, this area is so fucking awful! God! But this is in regards to the discussion we were having earlier about how the Lord Vessel might in theory work and why it exists in the first place. Because the only way to actually access the Kiln of the First Flame... A divine blessing, yeah, I don't give a shit about that. 2 divine blessings, in fact. Why are these down here? Why would there be divine blessings? I guess these would probably be the corpses of the Silver Knights that accompanied Gwyn whenever he tried to fight the bit of chaos. Oh god, the visuals in this area. You have to kind of just look up because it just blinds you. Oh, I hate this place. But the way that the reason why the Lord Vessel is there to sort of act as a way of determining whether or not you have what was the word? But you have confirmation from all the different lords that you actually want the Kiln to be open. Because messing with the First Flame causes everyone to be messed with. Because all of their souls are linked with the First Flame. Are you just gonna ignore me? Whatever. So if you kind of fuck with the First Flame, then everyone will be in danger. So you want consensus from the witches, you want consensus from the gods, and you want consensus from Nito that they want that door to be open. So that's the idea with that. But after the bit of chaos kind of goes nuts, and after the bit of chaos goes nuts, and all this shit goes down, and Gwyn comes here with his band of knights, they fail to destroy the bit of chaos, because I guess there's just way too many dragon asses to worry about it. Look at that one, it's not even rendered appropriately because of the lighting. Oh, it's terrible. Then there's no way that they could have opened the door to the Kiln. Oh yeah, I forgot about that stupid soul over there. There's no possible way that they could have opened up the door, because they need consensus from all the different souls. So how could he have opened the door to the Kiln if the Witch of Izalith obviously was no longer available because she was a batshit crazy monster lady now? And I guess kind of the answer is, once again, shh, don't stop thinking about it. But I guess another explanation is that Gwyn, at the height of his power, and because it was a height, sort of, it was kind of fading, I guess. And that's the reason why all this started happening. But he was still very, very strong at the time. So maybe it's just that it's not so much that it's asking for consensus, the Lord Soul, so much as it just demands a great deal of power to prove that you're worthy of actually entering the Kiln in the first place. And again, the Lord Vessel does seem to be something that was created by the gods. God damn it. Is it really that bad? Oh, Lord. Well, let's just get rid of all that. Let's walk around naked for a while, because why not? There's another problem with this, is that it actually damages all your armor and stuff in the process of doing this. I think it may even damage your rings. Can't quite remember. No, I don't think so. That's a Dark Souls 2 thing. What am I thinking about? I'm thinking about how lava works in that game, too. Anyways. So maybe it's that the gods, it was something that was made by the gods, you know, after Gwyn went in. It's a lock and key mechanism to ensure that if you wanted it in, then you had to have proven that you were powerful enough to deal with it in the first place. And I don't think there's actually any items back here, but I want to go back here and light this bonfire just for the hell of it. But I guess that's the answer to that question, is that it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Although it could shed some light in regards to how all that works in the first place. And you notice Solaire is not here, but the bonfire is. I guess this is the bonfire that was used. This is the bonfire that was used. They're referencing Solaire here. Whenever they first launched their campaign against the Bed of Chaos, Gwyn and his knights. Which you can understand why that would have gone so poorly. If there are a bunch of saucy-ass dragons... Look at that thong. Look at that thong. It is amazing. But there are a bunch of little saucy-ass dragons that were constantly butt-fucking around all the knights, jumping up into the... That's such a stupid attack. That they're just jumping up into the sky and landing on top of you. That is so fucking annoying. It's so dumb-looking. God. It's one of the things I don't like about some of Miyazaki's decisions in regards to, like, enemies and just how silly some of the things can be sometimes. It's like, really, just restrain yourself just a little bit. Like, they didn't... They jump, like, up to the fucking ceiling, too. They're so high that even if you tip your camera up, you can't even see them for, like, 4 seconds. It's insane. And I think there's actually... There might be, like, a couple more souls or something down here, but fuck this area. Fuck it. Fuck this shit. Okay, anyways. John Grimm says, I can't believe both of you sat there talking about Pyromancy's kanji being curse art, and all you came up with was calling it the art of curses. How about instead of art of curses, it is a cursed art, the art of people who are cursed, maybe alluding to the misfortune of those who practice it, and so on. Yeah, that was something I actually wanted to go over, but, you know, we're doing live comm with basically a podcast format, so seems like we got sidetracked with something else, and then I ended up forgetting about it or something. But yeah, that's something I wanted to go over. That the fact that it is written as cursed art can mean that the art itself is it's cursed, like it's a bastardized form of the ancient flame sorcery that they used to have, which is probably what it's actually referencing, I imagine. Or yeah, it could reference go away. That it's referencing the people that use it, that they are cursed themselves, or it could be referencing that, it could be referencing how the actual curse itself works, like in regards to people turning to stone, or maybe the curse of the undead. There's all sorts of interpretations that you can go down, but again, I think the most logical was that it's a bastardized form of fire, and that's what it actually means. And again, Miyazaki loves playing with, Japanese characters to insinuate multiple things at the same time, which does not translate whatsoever into any other language but Japanese. I guess, Chinese or anything that has relative character sets might also do that, I guess. But he doesn't seem to give a shit about that. So, for the rest of us, we're just left completely in the dark. But yeah, I haven't enjoyed my quest to gain all the shitty, worthless items down here. This is the reason why it's completely useless to come down here in the first place. There's just fucking nothing down here. It's just such a waste of an area. This is big... What the hell? This is that weird Dark Souls input error. I actually had my hand completely off the controller whenever he rolled. Just one of those things that gets people randomly killed. One of those weird things. Even happens in Bloodborne for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it has something to do with the controller inputs. I'm using a 360 controller, by the way, even though I don't actually own one. Or an Xbox One controller, sorry. But yeah, that in regards to the way that curse art and everything works, that's my best guess. Okay. But that's it for my notes, so now I'm free to do whatever the fuck I want to. Which includes looking over here. I don't think that there's anything over there that's important. Of course there is nothing that's important, because it's such a shitty fucking area. But, in regards to there being a soul or something, it probably isn't. Another thing I wanted to point out in regards to this. Stone trees. Yes, there's stone trees all over the fucking place in this area as well. Now, whether these are actually growing up out of the Greylands, I would assume that they are. But it is interesting that the curse of this weird, shitty-ass flame that she made, that has its, is relative to the stone and all this other stuff, that even these seem to be stone themselves, although it's kind of hard to tell. Like, this texture could easily be fiery wood, but you think if it's wood, then obviously it wouldn't be here, because it would be fucking on fire. So obviously, in my opinion anyways, these have to be stone. So the roots that are growing all over the place are also made of stone, which fits directly in line with my little idea that it has something or another to do with, not hollow. What the hell? Oh, right, that's what I'm doing. That it has something to do with the way that the actual a corrupted flame works in the first place. I don't even need to do that. It's just kind of wasting time. Alright. Oh, wait. This is what I was trying to do. That's what I was trying to do. I was wanted to repair all my equipment. Is it going to... Yeah, okay. Did I even wear that? Yeah, I did. Huh. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go up there and get my ass kicked by the bed of chaos once again. Which will be loads and loads of fun. I guess there's no reason to even put on my armor, because it's not going to help me. It's actually just going to slow me down. What are these things? This is something I wanted to talk about in earnest. But in the later sections of the game, things like shields just become completely pointless. Like the whole parry system. This is one of the reasons why I like I've been playing through Demon Souls. I love Boletaria. And I love the Undead Berg. Those are my favorite areas from both of those games. And it is because I'm, such an asshole in regards to, things looking like old-fashioned nonsense and whatnot. But I can't believe I left you alive. How'd you survive? How'd you survive the devastation I wrought on your... Oh, right, I respawned all of them. Man, I'm stupid. What the fuck was I even saying? Oh, the shields. But, like, pairing things just stops being something that you use at all. Like, it's a major system. There's a button for it and everything. You're supposed to use it. But can you parry these guys? No. Can you parry the Chaos Eaters? No. Can you parry the Bed of Chaos? No. And the only thing that you can ever parry are the extremely rare things like Kirk showing up. And you can parry him if you really wanted to. But that's pretty much it. And like even the witch that we just got through killing, she just used Pyromancy. And you can't parry that. Just the whole concept of parrying just stops working. And even shields, like... Can you use a shield to block these guys' attacks? They're like the fire breath, you can kind of mitigate the damage, I guess. But that's it, you can't really block it, it doesn't really accomplish anything. And, like, you obviously can't block anything from the Bed of Chaos unless you're using, like, a gigantic shield that has a shitload of stability. And even then, you're going to have all your stamina drained, so it's not going to work anyways. So, these Souls games always seem to be designed around people that do this shit. That are just naked, and they just roll around and use iframes to solve every problem imaginable. Which is one of the reasons why I always complain about making, which I actually have been doing, a design document in which rolling is the worst thing you could ever do in your entire life. I was joking with Spy the other day. What if I can get him down here and look at him that way? Let's try the tracking down here. That way we can get a good look at the top of his head. I was joking with Spy the other day about how if I had a chance to make my own Souls game, I would do the same shit that Miyazaki did in regards to the little plank shield. And I would have an item that, in a game in which rolling is a terrible idea, I would have an item, see, top of his head. Big razor-sharp teeth inside of his little skull cap head thing. Pretty neat, huh? I'm so clever for figuring that out. I'm a genius. You saw briefly the way that his little funnel, razor, teeth, mouth, head thing goes all the way down into nothing. He doesn't even... It's so weird. He doesn't even have a stomach. It's like his mouth... He's just a mouth that leads to nothing. Really weird. Okay, anyways. But I was joking that my game would have no iframes. None. Well, how would you solve problem? You would have to use a shield. You would actually have to... You would have to parry pretty much anything. And even if you're fighting like a gigantic enemy, you would have like battle abilities that would allow you to have, like a superhuman way of parrying them or something. Or you would just outright block all of their attacks or... And I have a whole design document that's kind of partially drawn up right now, but it focuses a lot more on armor and poise, and like if you're wearing armor and you have a poise bar that's completely filled out, if you get hit by something, you take 0 damage. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you get hit, the armor actually works. Like, that's what armor is supposed to be for, and it actually works. So, you don't use iframes for anything. Kind of weird how my head is separated from the rest of my body. Have you noticed that? Really strange. Let's look at that for a while. And I joke that I would have an item, it could be a ring or an upgrade or whatever it happens to be, that actually allows you to roll to dodge things, but it gives you like 5 iframes or something. And I would joke that this ring is worn by fools that, you know, believe themselves to be invulnerable. It engenders a false sense of invincibility or something like that. And I would fucking love that. That's my dream. That is my dream. One day I might share that design document with you, but I haven't really finalized everything yet. The controls are the biggest problem, I guess. But anyways, this is one of the things that's bothered me in regards to the end game of all the Souls games. Oh, it was whenever you equip the shield. That's right. I completely forgot that's a thing. And then it kind of ends up corrupting you, and it kind of ends up fucking you over. Okay, anyways. Let's change this up a little bit. Wolf ring, why not? And I'm not going to need that. It's not going to matter either way. This is not going to matter. I guess I can just... The stupid ass... See, this is what I'm talking about. Where is it? Rolling action. There we go. Let's just do that. It's the Ring of Fog that was the problem, apparently. There we go. Let's give us a few more iframes. Because I'm not going to block any of the Bed of Chaos's attacks with a shield. This is going to be completely useless. I really just remove this fucking thing. It's not going to do anything for us. And let's use something else, actually. What's the biggest, stupidest fucking thing I have? Probably the club. Do I have a great club? Yeah, I do have a great club. I don't think I've actually used this in combat. Let's use this stupid-ass thing. I'm probably going to get my ass killed because it is the Bed of Chaos and it's so random, but, you know, whatever. But yeah, just that idea that in the end game, just... They have a whole system of shields and parrying and stuff that they just stop using. Like, you can't... Like, in Dark Souls 2, they try to say, well, you can parry Velstadt and all this other stuff. You can't parry him. Like, you can, like, stop it, but you get, like, one frame to do it in. So it's just kind of a cute little novelty. You can actually reliably do that. I mean, that's stupid. And part of it is that their obsession with, oh, if you parry someone, then they just go in a repostable state, and then you can one-shot kill them. If you just stop fucking doing that, and just have it be a basic knockaway that leads into other combos, then you wouldn't have that problem at all. Stop doing that shit. Dumbass. Okay, anyways. Let's go down here and get my dumbass killed. Whee! I'm naked! I probably could have a little bit of armor on, but just, who cares? Who cares? We'll be hollow soon enough. It's kind of interesting that whenever you're kind of human, your underwear is a little bit more seamly. Whenever you become hollow, it looks really, really bad. Something I wanted to point out in regards to the Bed of Chaos. Whoosh! Haha! Ninja. I'm a fucking ninja. But this is something speedrunners do, and I probably can't even do it. And even if I manage to do it once, then I'll fuck up and I'll screw up the other arm. But one thing that speedrunners do, there's a specific location that you have to run down. And I don't even know what it is, so this is the reason why I'm not going to do it this way. And, actually, just, yeah, I have a bow equipped already. And you kind of have to aim just right. And then once you aim correctly, you can actually throw a bomb over the arm. And I'll just do that like 2 or 3 times to show it off. You can throw it over the arms. And in theory, at least, if you aim correctly, which is, like, I'm not used to doing this, so there's no way that I'm going to be able to hit it. I was trying to tell Nick how to do this during one of his streams. I think he burned through, like, I don't know, probably like 20 bombs or something before he actually managed to trigger one of these things. But he couldn't trigger the other one, and that's what got him killed. The speedrunners know exactly where they need to stand in order to get that to trigger. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that you can do that. You can kind of do it a little bit easier. And the advantage of that is that you can just get to wherever it is, look over, throw a bomb over, then throw a bomb on the other one, and that knocks out both of the arms, and then allows you to proceed through this, which is our ultimate objective. And as a result, you don't have to deal with this stupid bullshit of all the little holes all over the ground or its sweeping arms at all. The boss fight is completely nullified, which is probably the easiest way by far to deal with this. I joked about this in their stream, but this is like a Bloodborne boss before there were Bloodborne bosses. Fuck you. Right on top of the damn thing. Because I categorize Bloodborne bosses into 2 groups. There is the windshield wiper arm boss that just lays its gigantic arms on the ground and sweeps them back and forth, and you have to dodge the giant sweeping attacks, and that's just the whole boss fight. which I've made a joke about on Twitter in the past. And that's what this boss is. It's a windshield wiper arm boss fight. And then there is the flailing idiot boss that just runs at you, slapping its arms all over the ground as fast as it possibly can. And I don't think we really have many of those bosses in the Souls games. Although Flame Lurker is definitely one of those. If you play Demon Souls, Flame Lurker is definitely one of those flailing idiot bosses that is constantly just doing its dumb little AoE attack on you, slapping the ground as hard as he can, as fast as he can. It's just, both of those kinds of boss fights are extremely irritating. And you can tell, for me especially, irritating because there's no way to deal with them other than dodging. And the game becomes extremely character action driven during those little moments. And as Pat has mentioned in the past in one of his own Bloodborne parts, I do not like character action games. I just don't. To me, I find them incredibly boring and extremely irritating because it just becomes a game of, did you press B at the right time? That's all it is. Which I guess you could easily say, well, you're just pressing the shield button at the right time. Which, yes, you can say that. But at the same time, there's more of a back and forth going on in regards to... God damn it. There's more of a back and forth in regards to how you're interacting with the enemies that you're fighting. Whereas with dodging, you're just relying completely on invulnerability frames. Oh, I fucking hate this shit. But that's the problem with the beta Chaos fight. It's just this shit over and over again. There's nothing fun. I wonder if I can actually use... It's been a long time since I've actually tried using a Great Shield. Let's just try doing that for the hell of it. Because why not? Let's try using... sure, I'm never actually going to use... Wow, really? I can't use it? What's this requirement? Looking for stability. 84 stability. And this giant shield does 81, so that's more than sufficient. And I completely lost my ability to roll, though. Let's briefly fix that, I guess. Let's go with Havels. I can do that. Let's just go Havels and then go Ninja Flip anyways. Because I'm sure that this is not going to work either way. Whoosh. There, we got our Ninja Flip back. Nice and stupid. Nice and stupid. Oh, shit, that's right. Oh, well. Because I forgot about the ring, yeah. That's another one of the little annoying things about this area. If you're worried about the soft humanity, I'll just cheat it back in later. I don't care. That's immoral play. Yeah, it is. I don't care. Let's just take this back up to what's this one? Yeah, it's already at the top. That'll be the easiest one to do. Because this whole boss fight is stupid in the first place. Yeah, don't forget to equip that, or else you'll just walk out into lava and die before you even realize what happened. Like, I tried to roll back, and even that wasn't enough. Another one of the reasons why this area is so fucking shitty. Really, you should just gain the ability. Like, it should be something that's intrinsic to your character. Like, you absorb some nonsensical power from an enemy that you beat, and now you can walk on lava. Ooh. Even though you can walk on lava, you still take just as much fire damage as you did before, so yeah. And I'm back. And we'll try this one more time in regards to the shield, unless it uses Firestorm. So it does block a little bit of damage, but the main thing is that you're being knocked off into a pit. Damn. So yeah, you can sort of block things, but you really... Look at even that! It actually knocked me forward from my iframes. I was invincible, I took 0 damage, but it still knocked me away. That's the sort of horse shit that's involved in this fucking fight. This may be the worst fight in all of the games. Like Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, and Bloodborne. The worst one in all of them. Good job, Miyazaki. And as we said in the last thing, he has apologized numerous times for how absolutely broken and terrible this boss fight happens to be. But we get both arms down, and of course this is what everyone does in this fight, because again, this fight is complete bullshit. Just quit out of the whole thing. Load your fucking game all over again. And this magically puts you back in front of the boss fog. And fortunately, I guess even during testing they realized how awful this fight was. Might as well not even be wearing this stupid thing. Let's go back to Great Club. Just for the hell of it. Even though I'm not even going to need the damage. Is that you'll notice that those two little orbs are completely gone. It's because, really, you're going to use that right here? This is my actual expression in real life as well. It is bullshit that the first thing that can happen once you land is be hit by a firestorm, which actually does something like 60,000 points of damage or something ludicrous. And I'll also point out that even whenever you're sliding down this thing, this has happened to me before. What the hell? I was right here. See, it happened so fucking fast, even the game's like, yeah, no, that was total... that was stupid. But I've even been hit while sliding down this thing before by firestorm. It will actually erupt right on the slide, where you can't do anything about it. And if you get hit on the slide down here, as fun as the slide is, then I've actually seen the player model go into a T-pose, and then go directly into the standing animation, and just stand. Not go into the slide animation, but just stand on his way down here. Like, this is how little they worked on this part of the game. You can tell that the money is just drying up before your eyes. Look at this shit! I've just barely escaped that. But you can be hit by it, and it is not magical. Alright, come on, Bit of Chaos. No, no. Oh, God's sakes. And the whole objective... Look at that! Look at that fucking shit! Okay, you know what, guys? Let's just skip ahead to whenever the game is not glitching me into things. Ta-da! I made it. And actually on the try right after that one, so you don't have to worry too much about that shit. But God, this fight is awful. Absolutely terrible. Once you get in here, the only thing that you have to worry about now is the firestorm, which actually can hit you inside of this. And you can just barely see where the spots are where it's trying to hit you. Oh, God, this fight is terrible. I'm just going to end this quickly. I had a couple things I wanted to point out, but I'm not gonna waste any time. But here we see this is the actual witch. Like, the thing that we've been fighting is not the witch. This is. Or what's left of her anyways. This writhing little insect-like piece of garbage that seems to have something radiating from her, which I assume is not... No, let's not do that. Can't even talk in here. Let's fucking kill her. It doesn't matter what you use. I think she dies in one hit from whatever. But thanks a lot, Bit of Chaos, for allowing me to talk about this. I really appreciate it. We get the Lord Soul, her shitty-ass Lord Soul, and one humanity. That's done. And if we go outside, we'll see if anything has actually changed. And of course, we can't get back over there right away. Let's step out slightly. And one thing that actually you may not know about this is that the Bit of Chaos outside, even though you can't see it, whenever you destroy that thing inside, the witch inside, the Bit of Chaos itself actually has a dying animation. Which I'm probably not going to show, because I'm kind of irritated right now because of all that. And honestly, the Bit of Chaos just does not deserve the effort. You know? It does not deserve the effort one bit. And you can see why, just from this fight, you can see why I don't like Bloodborne. It's because of that shit. That's all it is. Just big dumb thing slowly swings an arm at you, just slow enough to mislead you into having bad timing, because it's moving its arms in such a way that it looks very unnatural. Just as an excuse to try to make to artificially inflate the difficulty of dodging the attack in the first place. And that's all it is. Just, will you press B at the right moment? Who can say? And that's all the goddamn thing is. I fucking hate it. And the Bit of Chaos, I hate this fight because of that, because that's all it is. You're not fighting anything. The only thing that you have to worry about... Like, they call it a puzzle fight, but it's not much of a puzzle. Because, sure, you can approach it But then it's like, well, I can't do anything here. Then you see the 2 giant orbs on the side, and like, well, I'll go over there. And then you kill them. And they're like, that's the puzzle? That's not a puzzle. So the entire fight, this entire fight is nothing except for Bed of Chaos laying its arms on the table, going, woo, 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 and you just trying to dodge back and forth. And that's all it is. And eventually, like, especially whenever this thing opens up, a lot of people, even not worrying about the arms, have a whole hard time just falling onto this thing because it's so fucking awkward. Awful. Just terrible, terrible boss fight. I think the one thing that Miyazaki could do that would really benefit him is to stop playing fucking DMC or whatever the hell it is that he does in his spare time and play something instead like Mountain Blade or something like that. That would be a very good influence on him. This character action bullshit needs to stop. And yes, I know that Dark Souls 3 was announced, and I really hope it's not Dark Souls 3, because I was joking about that with Nick and Franz, and we were just all in agreement, yeah, Dark Souls 3 would be terrible. We even made, like, jokes about it. People were photoshopping, like, Dark Souls 3 onto joke images because we found it so funny, the idea of them actually trying to make a sequel to Dark Souls 2, because of how much of a clusterfuck 2 was in the first place, and how it undermines the games to have sequels after sequels, when the whole point of the fucking games is that they're supposed to be steeped in mystery. The more that you explain it, the more you ruin the whole thing. So if it has, like, Fart Souls, or Dick Souls, or Dragon Souls, or Gummy Bear Souls, I don't care. It just better not say Dark Souls 3 on it. But anyways, I really hope that Dark Souls 3, whatever it happens to be, doesn't have this stupid, shitty, modern, FromSoft, everything needs to be character action, dodging everywhere, that's the way to deal with everything, shields are useless. Now that shit better fucking stop. I don't want to see that garbage in a Souls game. Like, you can bend over and take the biggest fox shitting in a fedora in a woods shit that you ever shat in Bloodborne, and I don't give a damn. Because it's Bloodborne, who cares? The moment that garbage starts seeping into the games, and everything becomes a Bed of Chaos fight, where you're just dodging giant arms, or there's a big flailing idiot that's just chasing after you, and that's all the whole fucking thing is. This backstepping over and over again until you finally see it calm down, and you get one hit in, and then you back away and do the whole goddamn thing all over again. The moment that Dark Souls becomes that and nothing else, that's when I leave the series. I better not see that fucking shit in any of the other games. I'm not the biggest fan of how shields work in these games, but it's a whole lot better than doing nothing except for just dodging all the time. I want to see this improved. You see this is garbage. This is admittedly garbage, the way that these work in these games. This is the reason why I'm making my own design document. Just to have this thought process laid out. This needs to be improved. It does not need to be dropped entirely. It needs to be improved. This needs to be dropped. This nonsense of rolling on the ground to solve all your problems, that needs to be removed entirely. I never want to see that again. Hope you enjoyed this part, everyone. Hope you fucking enjoyed it. Okay, but the next thing I'm going to be doing is going down into Ash Lake, which actually should be fairly enjoyable, because I'll actually get to talk about things, and there's really not much down there in the first place, so I'm going to have plenty of excuse to actually bitch about stuff, which I love bitching. You might not think, oh, you sound ignorant. No, I'm not. I love complaining. So if Bloodborne gave me anything, and if the Bed of Chaos gave me anything, it's the joy of being able to complain about them in the first place. Let's go ahead and reset that just to make sure. And I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anything down there. But if I did miss anything down there, then you know what? Fuck it. Oh, Siegmeyer. Oh, Siegmeyer, you piece of shit. But first, I wanted to point this out. Oh, this episode is going to be such a bitch. Okay. But we come back here to the fair lady, and what do we find but a corpse? A male corpse with Kirk shit inside of it. Interesting. So, we got a couple of his drops. We got his shield and we got his sword already, which had nothing in them. So let's see what exactly these have to say about him. The Helm of Thorns, Armor of Thorns, and so on. Ah, fucking Fucking bed of chaos. Armor of Kirk. Finally, thank you, Miyazaki, for actually taking more than 30 seconds out of your precious day to write a fucking item description. Armor of Kirk, Knight of Thorns, and notorious member of the Dark Race. A dense patch of thorns grows from its surface. Who cares? Get to the fucking characterization. It is a fitting item for the murderous Kirk, for by simply wearing it and rolling, one can damage enemies. So thanks for nothing, Miyazaki, once again, for pretty much revealing absolutely nothing about him. He is the murderous Kirk, and he loves rolling into people and causing damage because that's fitting for murderers, that they can roll into you and damage you with spikes, I guess. Thanks, Miyazaki, so much for that. But he is a quote-unquote notorious member of the Dark Race. So this does come out and straight up to tell us he's a member of the Dark Race, but at the same time, what is a member of the Dark Race doing here, specifically? Now, this is the... I'm still pissed off from the bed of chaos, but I'm going to try to refocus and point out one of the things I love about the Souls games. And this is going to be difficult because I'm still trying to push down the welling darkness in my soul right now. But it says that he's a Dark Wraith. But he's also here, in the secret lair of the Fair Lady. And there's something that we know about the Fair Lady in that she requires humanity. Whenever we are actually part of her covenant, we gather together humanity and give this to her. And let's just go ahead and actually just fucking find the damn ring, old witch's ring. See what she has to say. Nothing new. It does not hurt terribly. Nothing new.
Please, sister, do not cry. I am happy, really. I have you.
Yeah.
Don't I?
Yeah. Yeah, you got me.
Goodbye, Gwyn. Do be safe.
I'll try. I'll definitely try. But she requires humanity because, of course, as we've been over before, she is very frail and sickly and whatnot. So there's a couple of options as to why exactly Dark Wraith Kirk is down here. Either he showed up here in his own world. This is one of the weird things about the Souls games. Either, why is his corpse here if he was actually from another world? Because that's their explanation for multiplayer. Just don't worry about it. That's not the point of this. It's one of those stupid fucking things where I wish I could just get a belt and just beat Miyazaki until he fixes it, but... if wishing nuts were candy and butts... Okay, anyways. But Kirk is down here. Why is it down here? There's two options. Either it's because the Fair Lady is rife with humanity, because people have been giving her humanity so much, and as a result, why would he not be down here, other than to try to kill her and take all of this? But, why would he then be dead? And of course, time and space are convoluted and whatnot. So it's possible that he maybe has been dead for a long time, and the person that we've been fighting is actually someone that was been from the past, or the corpse is here from the future, or maybe we're the ones that actually killed him, even though that doesn't make any sense because he would have appeared in a wraith form. Yeah. And also, he supposedly is undead, so the fact that he even leaves a corpse in the first place also makes absolutely no sense, but again... Stop worrying about it. Dark Souls is an incomplete game that doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But the second option, other than him actually outright being here to attack the Fair Lady and mysteriously being killed by something... Engie, did you kill Dark Wraith Kirk? Did you do what I could not? Pleasure to see you again.
Don't neglect the fair lady. She needs some company.
She does need some company, but unfortunately, Quilana is apparently too cowardly to come down here and just talk to her in their native tongue. You'd think that the Fair Lady would be ecstatic to see her. If Quilana just showed up and, sat down and they started having a conversation, you would imagine that would be like the happiest day in the past 1,000 years for her. But I guess it's too much trouble for cowardly Quilana. Good job, you fucking waste. Anyways, Engie may have killed him, who knows. But the second option is that he is actually a servant of the Fair Lady. And if that's the case, then the reason why he's been going around collecting humanity and is referred to as being a Dark Wraith in the process of using the cracked red-eye orbs is that he actually felt sympathy for her. And he was actually doing this out of a cause for good and was actually really touched by her plight And maybe in his own world, he actually did the same thing that we did and actually killed Quelaag. So maybe he's actually acting out of the same sense of goodness that we are. Like right now, I'm still Chaos Servant +3. That he's actually in the same boat that I am. That he's actually been roaming around collecting humanity for the sake of healing her. So actually, this is the strength of Dark Souls. Dark Souls 1. Demon Souls kind of muddles about in regards to characterization. It doesn't do quite a good job of it, in my opinion. Like, there are some mysteries that are kind of solved and things are opened up a bit. But you really don't focus too much on what their motivations are and, like, emotion and things like that. Whereas Dark Souls 1, just things like that, referring to him as being a Dark Wraith, but having his corpse be here in front of the Fair Lady, implying that maybe he was serving her in some ways, that opens up a lot in regards to his characterization. Was he a good person? Was he a bad person? Same thing with Lautrec. Was Lautrec a good person or a bad person? You know, was he doing it for the sake of love? Was he doing it for the sake of greed? And the same thing with Kirk. He's sort of the same thing. Was he doing it because of greed, because he was seeking out humanity to prolong his own existence? Which might explain why he might, quote-unquote, die, or, you know, hollow out to the point of not moving, or whatever the hell this works as. Illusory. There is no illusory wall. Or was he doing it out of kindness? Which would completely change everything about his characterization. To me, this is another reason why I was so disappointed with Bloodborne. Because, yeah, it focuses... Is this a dream within a dream's dream? I don't care! Stupid Inception bullshit. Who gives a fucking shit if it's a dream in a dream? Who cares? Like, why were you a worm at the end? I don't care! That doesn't matter! That is completely irrelevant! That is not how you write a fucking story! This is how you write a story, whether Miyazaki intended to or not. And with Bloodborne casts doubt. I thought Miyazaki's a fairly good writer. And then Bloodborne came out, it's like, maybe he's not. Because he's focusing too much on the same sort of stupid shit that like a young 15-year-old writer would focus on. Like, ooh, what are the rules and how the world works? It's so mysterious. No, this is what you focus on. You focus on characterization. You focus on motivations. And what makes this so great is the fact that, because of the placement, just something subtle as this, you get completely different characterization. He's either an inhuman monster that is hunting down this completely helpless woman, or he is someone that actually was completely misunderstood the entire time. Two completely different ways of approaching this character. And that, to me, is what's so great about Dark Souls 1. Is that there are so many characters that are like this, that there's more depth to them, the more that you actually think about the tiny little details surrounding them. And again, Bloodborne was kind of shitty because the NPCs are just fucking nothing in Bloodborne. There's nothing as far as the NPCs are concerned. Like, it's, like, the most in-depth character in Bloodborne would probably be, like, Eileen. And even she has, like, nothing. She has nothing in regards to her characterization. She's old, she's hunting hunters, she might be a little bloodthirsty herself, and then that's it. She dies. Like, it's over almost instantly, just like every other NPC. And who else are you gonna look to? Like, the bigots? Like, I learned things with my own mind, I did. Yeah, and what else? Like, what is there else about you, other than the fact that you don't trust us? Nothing, but I learned it with my own mind, I did. I plucked the ticks right off my scrotum, I did. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, Miyazaki just completely poured all the spaghetti out of his pockets in regards to Bloodborne and all the shitty writing in Bloodborne. Awful, awful game in regards to that. It's extremely disappointing. And now people have been writing like whole synopses. This is the timeline of all the things, and this is what the eyes really mean, and these are all the groupings of all the people and how they were organized, and you know, they have the motivations because they want to touch the sky. No, they want to develop eyes on their brain. I know, I get it. I could probably write that myself. I get it, I understand it. But it's fucking boring as shit. And it serves no function at all. No function at all. Just completely empty, hollow, spiritless game, Bloodborne. Awful, absolutely awful. Bloodborne is Miyazaki's Dark Souls 2. Like, I would sooner take Lucatil. Lucatil, you know, she was kind of fucked up. If you read the original design works of Dark Souls 2, you read an interview in which you learn that originally Lucatil's name was going to be Don Quixote. And she was going to be followed around by the bell guy. You know, the little doll bell guy? The guys that are supposedly dolls? That used to be a legit character. And he was going to follow around Lucatil and basically be Sancho Panza's. And whenever they got rid of the director of Dark Souls 2, because it was apparent that it was becoming a giant clusterfuck, they got rid of him, then they had to try to salvage all the nonsense that he had ended up creating as a director. Hey, come on. Come on, Taurus man. There you go. There we go. But they had to completely try to salvage all that nonsense. And just to be safe. No, I'll just go on. If I end up getting... I'm afraid of the stupid little Titanite demon pushing me off the edge or something accidentally, which can easily happen. Anyways. They had to retrofit all that stuff, and that's why we got Lucatil as she is today. But even with that, like, I still like Lucatil. She's still a good character, and I would sooner take Lucatil over any NPC at all in Bloodborne. Because all the Bloodborne NPCs are just so two-dimensional. Like, a lot of the, even Dark Souls, some NPCs are always kind of two-dimensional themselves, but there is the good and the bad, so. Was he down here? I didn't even check to see if Solaire was still down here. I'll go look. He's probably moved by now. Which is kind of interesting. Insinuates that he's up to something else. Yeah, he's completely gone. Oh well. Hopefully that'll work and I'll be able to summon him. If not, then I guess I'll just never will. Anyways, yeah, I would sooner take Lucatil over, like, Eileen or Ivsiska. Some people point to her because, oh, she's kind of interesting. She's interesting in the sense that whenever you meet her, it's kind of mysterious what happened because her dialogue and everything shifts as much as it does. But it turns out, oh, she was just replaced. Like, her as a character. She did not actually change. Oh, see? What'd I fucking tell you? Killed me in one fucking hit. While I was trying to roll, actually. Okay, let's just do a cutback. I've already said all I needed to say in regards to Eileen and all that. I really hate this thing. I hate this thing just because, like, it has a shitload of health. Like, look how much health this thing has. There's, like, not even a tenth of his health right there. And, of course, fighting these things is... I somehow got glitched into him. He grabbed me from his own ass, which is quite fitting. Managed to almost kill me one hit again. And he has insane reach as well. It's just... shitty enemy. Come on, roll! Well, or don't roll. Okay. This guy is pretty random. Now, I have proof that it's random because whenever I started the episode... Oh, yeah, that's right. It didn't actually show me fighting him. But whenever I started the episode, he was cleared already. And you notice that I had not used any of my Estus flasks. I think I had like 10 or whatever it was. And it's because I never took a hit while I was actually clearing him. Whereas that time, obviously, I was hugging one side of him. And then he did his grab attack, which is supposed to hit in front of him, but somehow magically clipped one of my hitboxes inside of his own body, which allowed him to pull me out of him and then kill me in almost one hit. Meanwhile, I was being... This is another one of the reasons why I really don't like rolling as a main defensive mechanic. Because I'm being hit by this guy, and I'm like mashing roll, but he just never does it because he's still stunned from it. And because apparently there's some sort of input delay in regards... Like, I'm hitting it now, and there's like a few frames in regards to when he actually begins rolling or not. Ugh. And he does that shit too. So yeah, just not a great enemy. Not a great enemy at all. This time we won't have any issues because this time I'm not going to dick around. I'm just going to leave. We won't have any issues because I'm just going to leave. We won't have any issues at all. And he does fire lightning at us when we're trying to run away. That just so happens to hit at just the right time. He tried his best, didn't he? That's why you don't bother trying to fight that fucking thing. You can come up with a specialized build that's made for fighting it, but honestly, you need more space to be able to dodge around him, which dodging is really the only thing you can really do to him. Really? While I'm fucking talking? Izalith is just the place that just keeps on giving, you know? The gift that keeps on giving. But the main issue with him is that, yeah, as you saw, your body kind of just, your model clips around him as he moves because he's kind of just a shittily made enemy with bad animations and bad hitbox detection. And you end up getting knocked off of this thing, this bridge, while you're trying to fight him. And that's kind of the main issue. So you have to stick close to him. But if you stick close to him, then your hitbox clips with every goddamn thing in the whole fucking world. And you end up dying anyways. God, I hate this fucking place. So I'm gonna kill these guys with his own weapon. Whee! Jumping with this thing is pretty fun. I'll give it that. But you saw it like I hit him in the ass and he instantly just jumps straight up into the air. Jumps straight into the fucking air. Editing this thing's gonna be a bitch, but I really want to show off how absolutely horrendous that enemy is. Anyways. Here we are at Siegmeyer's establishment. There's an item over there that you're supposed to... Ooh, an item. You're supposed to run over and try to grab it. But once you run over there and try to grab it, then this whole floor collapses. But think for a moment, this is the only way in or out. And Siegmeyer's going to be down here. How did he get in there? Do you see any holes? Do you see any steps? No. How did he get in there? Did the floor collapse and he fell down and then after that... they rebuilt the whole thing? I don't know. Who fucking cares? Let's get this over with as quickly as possible. There's a few things to be gathered over here, but I just do not care. I do not care. If I can even remember how to get over to him. Walk over here, drop down. There we go. But before we even talk to him, there's 3 different ways that this can end up. You can let him fall down there and fight, and that will get him killed. So he'll die, and then his story ends. Or you can let him fall down and then finish off all the enemies before he loses 50% of his health, and that results in one outcome. And then there's another outcome in which he drops below 50% health, and then it seems like he gives you something, and that also ends his story. So what we actually need to do is to kill off all these enemies before he can kill himself. So, the easiest way to accomplish this honorable goal is to just, kill off, 3 of the 4 of these enemies. And I think there's actually another one over around the corner. And then, leave 1 hit on the last one. That way it's as safe as you can possibly get it for poor little Siegmeyer here. Siegmeyer, not my most favorite NPC, but a lot of people like him because he's comedic. Like, he's a bumbling 2-dimensional oaf, and people are like, oh, Siegmeyer, Personally, I much prefer it whenever an NPC has a little bit more depth to them, and they have a bit more conflict. But people love Siegmeyer just because he's kind of a clown, is what he basically is. But he does have some depth to his character, which I'll go over in a bit. After we get through with him snoring. And like Miyazaki's wont to do, this is just a Demon Souls reference. There was a character called Bior in Demon Souls that would always fall asleep after fighting. And this is just, I guess, kind of a throwback to that. Or maybe Miyazaki just loves the idea of people sleeping standing up so much that he felt compelled to put it in successive games. Who knows?
Oh, excuse me, I was so absorbed in thought I just drifted away. Must be the wolf. Well, what's on your mind? No? Don't tell me. Those monsters making life difficult for you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Don't be ashamed. We're all in the same boat, you know. I really have run up quite a debt to you. Perhaps the time has come.
The time has come. I wanted to, in regards to Siegmeyer here, we have been developing his character over time. Each time that he comes across a situation, he balks. And he thinks, and he thinks, and he plans, and he plans. But then he never does anything. And as I've gotten onto young artists, young writers, and so on. You can't just think and plan, you eventually have to do. And whenever you do, you have to follow through on your actions, or else you're never going to accomplish anything. Yes, whenever you start a project, the idea is not going to be absolutely perfect, but you can't worry about it. You just have to get started and do the fucking thing. Sort of like Miyazaki in the Souls games. The Souls games never turn out perfect, there's always some sort of flaws with them, and they always seem to run out of time. But if they waited around for everything to be perfect before they got started, then we would never have the games in the first place. And Siegmeyer is one of these people that does not understand this. He plans and plans and plans, but ultimately, he's kind of left feeling like a coward. He ends up feeling as though he hasn't really accomplished much of anything. He's admitted that the only reason why that he's here, like he's not here to link the fire or any of that bullshit like that. He wasn't here to talk to Guinevere. Like he was up in Lordran, but it was seemingly just for the sake of adventure. He was here because he's looking for a fight. Like he's just looking for distraction after distraction. That's the kind of person that he is. He's not looking to fulfill any grandmaster goal. He's just sort of the kind of person that is just... He thinks of himself as being an adventurer, being a hero, and he's trying to live out that fantasy. But the more that we show up, and the more that we dash those hopes, the more that he realizes that he's not quite the person that he thought himself to be. And because he is so shallow of a person, like he's not the smartest person in the world, he's not the bravest or the strongest, although he is, brave and strong in his own way, he ends up feeling like since that's the only thing that he has going for himself in life, that's all he has. And once we ruin that, we ruin him. It kind of reminds me of how football players, like professional football players, like you always hear of someone committing suicide, like after they get through retiring. Because as kids, like they're little teenagers, they're playing football, that's their life. And then they go to college, and football is still their life, or gridiron, or whatever you want to call it. And then they go into the NFL, and they just play, and eventually they get to the point where they can't play anymore. Their bodies give out, and they have to retire. And then they realize, this is the only thing that I was. This was my entire life. I now have nothing. I have no interests. I don't have anything beyond this career. This is all that I am. And as a result, even though they have, their millions of dollars or whatever they have, and they have their friends and families and all these connections they develop over years, inwardly they feel completely hollow and empty because they can no longer do the thing that they were born to do. And that's sort of like Siegmeyer. Siegmeyer is sort of like a professional athlete. He's a professional hero. Once we remove his ability to be that, he has nothing. So let's see what he has to say in regards to that.
Fred, I have an idea. A good one, really.
Uh-huh.
I will rush those dire fiends, and you can slip away in the confusion. Please, Fred, I owe you much more than this. By the honor of the Knights of Catarina, allow me to assist you. And now, I go. Don't be slow.
Suggesting that we should dive in. Sorry for landing on you. Suggesting that we should... God, his health is so low, too. Suggesting that we should dive in.
I am Siegmeyer of Catarina, and you shall feel my wrath.
Or you would have, anyways. But this was his last final little thing. He wanted to go out with a blaze of glory. Because this is who he considers himself to be. God damn, he absolutely demolished that guy, though. 919 health damage. And he is immune to poison for the sake of, gameplay in this case. Red Knight Titanite Chunk, and he'll wait for us. Let's just go around collecting shit. Red Titanite Chunk, Red Knight Titanite Chunk, Soul of a Brave Warrior. Those Red Titanite Chunks, by the way, are very hard to come by. If you're making, like, a low SL build, you're probably going to be using a Chaos Weaponry, whatever the hell it is. So you're going to need these Red Chaos things, these Red Titanite Chunks. And this is the only place to get them. Other than farming like the rockworms, which I had to do in my own low SL build. And it is miserable, let me tell you. Okay, Siegmeyer. I've dashed your hopes of living out your glory NFL days. What do you got to say now?
But you, didn't you get away? Well, you've saved me once again. Oh, thank goodness. I'm exhausted. I think I'll have a rest. So don't you worry. The ground below me is my pillow. I'll recover shortly.
The ground below me is my pillow, but I won't be using it. So he returns to being a clown. Although to me, Siegmeyer is much more of a serious character than just a clown. Yeah, he's snoring. That's very funny, Miyazaki. Get it out of your system. But you notice he said that we saved him once again. So even whenever we both are participating in the fight, to him, that diminishes him for some reason. Like, he can't... for some reason, it really bothers him to be an equal contributor. He has to be the hero for some bizarre reason. And whenever we interfere, it's like, I guess because he knew whenever he dove in, I'm not going to make it out of this. Because he knew his own limitations. And if you do leave him to his own devices, he does die. But since I guess we rob him of that, we have robbed him of his blaze of glory moment that he was actually looking for. So that's his character, is, you know, this is all he has, and we keep taking it from him. And unfortunately, that's really the only thing that we could have done. Either we let him die, or we rescue him, and he sort of dies inside. Which, in regards to the theme of Dark Souls itself, as I've been over before, in regards to some other NPCs, that is quite fitting. That he has the choice of either going out in a blaze of glory, or he has the choice of having a slow inward death. Which is, thank you, Poison Meter. Which is sort of the choice that we're continually faced with in the game, you know, at large. We've had other NPCs that have sort of a similar issue. So that's Siegmeyer's character. He's kind of just has, you know, kind of a shitty life. And if you dive inside these things, then you die. Don't ask me what these things are. Actually, I don't know what the hell this place even is. Maybe it used to be a sewer and these were like dumping grounds or something? I have absolutely no idea. Surely they based it off of something, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I lose my way inside this shithole. But there's really nothing down here other than like souls and chunks and things. But if you do need red Titanite chunks, then this is where you need to go. But I do like Siegmeyer as a character for what I just went over. This sort of inward struggle that he actually has as a person. Most people like him because, ho, he's onion, bro. He's so fat and also he snores. Ho, 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 ho. I really, personally, it's just fucking stupid to me. But I like him for, like, his inward struggle. Like, the fact that he is, you know, that's who he is. Like, anytime that I go over him, I always think about my dad, because he's also kind of a simpleton. And, you know, he tries to fill the gap in his own life in his own way with conspiracy theories is what he does, to make himself feel important. But people are kind of just like that. Like, it seemed like, did something collapse down here? It seemed like something jumps down at me. It's been a long, long time since I went and bothered to get this. But a lot of people are like that. Like, they just try to fill... Oh yeah, that's the slab that I don't need. They try to fill the hole in their lives with various things, and with Siegmeyer, he's been internally trying to distract himself. Like, that's been his life. He's been trying to distract himself for his entire life. With adventuring, you know, just trying to solve everything that way. You know, I don't need to stop and think about my life. I need to just keep on going. Just keep on trucking. What the hell? I thought there were stairs here. Actually, hold on. I'm going to equip this fucking ring. Because this is absolutely insufferable. You can equip your, yeah, just, you get that. I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, that's how a lot of people are. That they keep doing this. They keep, trying to redirect themselves in life rather than addressing the issues that are actually bothering them. And that's Siegmeyer in a nutshell. And he has his wife and his daughter. Although what became his wife, we really don't know. But we've seen his daughter, obviously. And we're going to get a little bit more dialogue later on in regards to his relationship with them. Just wanted to make sure I showed you guys the way out of this. But, we're going to be learning more about that, but it seems odd that he has sort of estranged himself from his family for the sake of adventuring. And I'll go more into that later once we actually get to it. But for now, I'm trying to be careful because I can't remember it's very easy to fall off and not have a way of actually getting back up. Because this is kind of a shitty area itself. This is the way, okay, yeah. Don't jump off down there, because then you'll just have to drop back down and start all over again. This is the actual path back up, if you want to get all the way back up there. And I can't remember how the hell I'm supposed to get to that thing over there. It seems like there's some steps over on that side, so let's go do that real fast. This Izalith is such a miserable, awful, awful place. And looks like there's no steps at all. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. It's like you actually had to drop down or something. I don't know. I'll cut to it in a second, and then we'll be over with this shit. Okay, I found it. You just have to... The thing that I was walking on just now, you actually had to drop down to this path, then come down here and... Oh, yes, I see you. Oh, no, don't start that shit. Get out of here. These things are a little bit stronger than the ones you find up there. But you go down here, and then he sees you and comes down and is an asshole, and then you come up here. And here's this one little item that isn't even important. Red Titanite chunk. It's just a single red Titanite chunk. Complete waste of time. But that's the way that you go back up. I already showed you once, so I'm not going to show you it again. God! Oh, what an insufferable episode this has been. It's going to be like 2 hours long, too. But it's going to be me mainly bitching, so maybe you guys will be enjoying yourselves either way. Fuck me. Fuck this fucking area. This is the reason why I was saving it for last, because I fucking hate this area so goddamn much. Anyways, next episode, of course, is going to be Ash Lake, and then we'll go on with the DLC, and then that will be it. That will be the entire game, unless I've forgotten something, which I'm not above. You know, I've probably forgotten something or other. Go back to Lucerne. Oh, yeah. There we go. There's the cannon look. Hollowing and all. I think it's about time for the title cards to start getting darker again. That's for damn sure. Alright. Hope you guys enjoyed all this. If you have any questions before you post them, so that I can ignore them. I actually read them. I'm sure there's always going to be that one guy that asks, like, he watches the video a week after I upload it, and then wonders, how come you didn't answer it? Well, you took a week. You know, I've been preparing. I probably already recorded the episode. Anyways. Should be some things going up in regards to animations this June. That's the reason why I had to do the Picardo video last month. Got to do my quarterly earnings report this month as well. That's going to be fun. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Enjoyed my absolute, pure, unadulterated misery. Goodbye. Get the hell out of here. Go on. Get out of here.